Bobby here, and continuing with our phrase building, rhythmic phrase building ideas that we looked at last time. This is a really fun exercise I like to call the numbers game's coming soon. This is called the name game. I've named it the name game. And this is where you take, in order to kind of internalize some rhythmic phrasing, this is where you take a popular phrase or a phrase you just made up in your head, strictly a rhythmic thing, and apply it to your instrument. So, you could take something like, you could take your name. Let's just assume that my name is Robert John Harrison. I'm not going to give you my actual middle name because you could maybe commit fraud or something. But I'll give you my mother's maiden name and my national insurance number. But yeah, so you take a phrase like, it's very narcissistic to use your own name, but just something off the top of my head. So Robert Paul Harrison. Over this backing track, this is in D minor. This is a D minor 7th amp. I'm just playing D Dorian, D minor pentatonic, all of the harmonic information coming from the parent scale of C major. We're going to take that rhythm. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Just start with one note. Robert Paul Harrison. Could be Robert John Harrison. And then we take it to the scale, so here we go. Something like that. And if you stick to that rhythm, you wouldn't do this in a solo, but if you deviate from it, be aware that you've deviated from it. You're using this as a kind of device to develop and internalize more rhythmic ideas that will kind of subconsciously work their way into your playing. And you can use them in your improvisation and not think about them. Now, as I said in the last video, you need to be all right with the fact that you can't possibly retain absolutely everything that you accumulate, and you shouldn't think too much about it. These are throwaway ideas, but they do find their way of working their way into your playing. In the same way as I mentioned in the last video, if you're kind of idly drumming, sitting in traffic and drumming on the steering wheel, everyone has a sense of internal rhythms, within them. So this Robert John Harrison thing, let's just take that again. What I mentioned last time, every note that you play within that rhythm doesn't have to be a new note, because then that would just be you'd just be kind of running up and down the scale then. So you can use repetition of notes within that phrase, but just stick to that rhythm. And anything's fair game, as long as it's in the scale. Or we could take the phrase ba 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 ba, and we could displace the rhythm. So we could kind of syncopate it. So we could do something like this. I like the repetition of it. I like the simplicity and the fact that I mentioned this in a previous video, but a strong rhythm can carry a relatively weak or relatively uninspiring melody, and vice versa. But sometimes the simpler things are the best. So let's try that again, that same grouping. I'm just using the Robert John Harrison thing as inspiration. Something like that. It doesn't even have to be that rhythm. You could just use the device, Robert John Harrison, as you go. phrase that's inspired the idea. You know, taking it away from your own name. Let's take. I like to use some of these ideas will mean nothing to you if you're outside of perhaps the UK and Ireland, but you know, you could take TV commercials. So see if you can spot what this rhythm is. Okay, so this is just the rhythm, not the melody. So I had that was a rhythm. What is that? It's a certain product for washing machines. So washing machines live longer with, might not mention the brand name just in case I get a copyright strike, but if you bust it out in the middle of a solo, no one's going to know you're thinking of, you know, making your washing machine live longer, are they? All right, let's try another one. Another one from a kind of UK and Ireland TV commercial. How about this? Or what's that? It's about a company that will repair and or replace your glass windscreen, if you know that one. You could take any phrase. You could take something like, what are we having for dinner tonight? What are we having for dinner tonight? So we could have like, oh, completely messed that up. Okay, I'll get it next time round. So. So I was sticking primarily to the D minor pentatonic scale, because the other thing to kind of train yourself to do, you know, this is a limitation exercise, which is anything but limitation exercise. So I think they're very, very important to practice, and stick strictly to the idea. If you deviate from it, be aware of the fact that you've deviated from it, but it really, really pays to kind of stick to the idea, and then you can work on resolving to you know, more consonant notes. So you've got an awareness, you know, the kind of secondary thing that's going on there is an awareness of what chord tones you're resolving to. You know, I try and resolve to like roots, fifths, sevenths, thirds, and you can't really go far wrong with the minor pentatonic scale because you've got a D minor 7 arpeggio built in. You know, you only add that extra note, that fourth, and that's the only note that's not going to sound as kind of resolved. Just got a spider on my ring light there. So, you know, we could do, I don't know, let's take yeah. What about the phrase limitation exercise, or maybe work on your limitation exercises. Work on your limitation exercises. think it's a great exercise. You know, I call it the name game. You can draw from anything. You can do this while you're in the middle of a solo. You could be having a conversation with yourself and the audience would be none the wiser. You know, think about just the fact that a strong rhythm can really, really create a hook. And you could be thinking about beans on toast. You could be thinking about some, you know, TV commercial from the 80s. You know, try and guess. Anyone who kind of grew up in the 80s, try and guess what this one is. I'm not going to reveal it, but. So that's just the rhythm, not the melody. It's a certain breakfast cereal anyway. You don't need to know, but that's something to have a bit of fun with. And you know, it could be inspiring. You could come up with ideas that will start to kind of embed themselves into your playing. You know, as always, practice these limitation exercises. Yeah, maybe 10 minutes at a time in a practice session. You know, really focus on the idea, the concept that you're trying to kind of work into your playing. But of course, practicing limitation exercises exclusively in and of themselves is going to be a little bit counterintuitive. You need to take some time in every practice session just to forget about the limitations and the parameters that you're putting on yourself, and just to play freely over the same backing track without constraints, without thinking about anything at all. And what you'll find over time is these ideas will start to come through. Not every idea you've ever tried out, but that's fine. You know, these kind of new rhythms and these new concepts will really start to kind of come through in your playing. We'll be using this same backing track, this thing that I just threw together on iReal Pro. We've been using this for a load of lessons, same backing track, and there's a reason for that. It's not laziness on my part, it's just to kind of keep a theme going where you can try out these ideas over the same track. But of course you can play them over over a backing track of your choice. I would suggest initially, because we're not talking about changes playing here at this point, and these improvisation tips aren't going to be in order of difficulty or anything like that. It's not going to be a course per se, it's just going to be ideas that are going to kind of come to me as and when. But whatever you kind of practice over, I would say kind of keep the harmony simple, keep the underlying harmony simple. You know, maybe keep it a vamp or one or two chords if you're not comfortable playing over changes, because obviously this stuff will start to come out in your changes playing over time as well. But yeah, have fun with that, see how you get on, and I'll see you on the next video. you've ever wanted to play the blues with all the emotion of your favourite guitarists, or if you're keen to join in at a jam night and just need a bit more confidence, Absolute Blues Guitar has you covered. We offer an immersive course, and whether you're a beginner or an experienced player, we're committed to making an authentic blues guitarist out of you. Everything we teach is broken down note for note, written out in tab and standard notation, and accompanied by high quality backing tracks. We give you all the tools you need to play classic blues and beyond. There really is nothing missing. My name's Bobby Harrison, I'll be your teacher, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you inside.